Patriots quarterback Drake Maye is at the podium following his first career start.
Dan Roach in the back.
Drake, just kind of take us through your day from start to finish. You certainly had a lot going on, and how much did that first 40-yard touchdown kind of settle you down and get you going into your day?
Yeah. I think we just hurt ourselves today. I think that's the biggest thing. I think we put the defense in bad spots, and with how good our defense is, we can't. That's the least thing we can do. We can't get them when the ball's in the red zone. Giving the other team the ball in the red zone just makes it hard on them, and it starts with me. And I think we'll have some throws back, and especially the first interception. But after the touchdown, you feel like coming back in it, coming out of halftime, and there goes another turnover in the red zone. So just kept on hurting ourselves, and in this league, these teams are too good to do that. And but some great stuff to watch on film. Some times out there was a lot of fun on offense. So I told the guys in the huddle at the end, man, we got the guys in the huddle. We just got to make a few more plays and play complementary football. That's what Coach Maye would just preach: play complementary football. And we didn't do that today.
Drake, as the game went on, did you feel it kind of slow down for you, in the pocket and making decisions?
Yeah, I was a little amped at the start for sure. I think the biggest thing is having those guys around me. They were great, pumping me up. Coaches, defense, the guys around me were great, trying to settle me down. And Jacoby, was a big part of that, settled me down on the sideline and pregame. So kind of once you get that first drive, it was 3 and out, and probably could have checked it down on the under, but. Definitely some stuff, to look back and learn from. But I also feel like we did some good things. So,
Mike, you already in the front row. Drake, you mentioned the interception, the first one. What sort of happened there? Take us through.
Yeah, pretty simple. Pop over the middle and hit him a few other times, and wasn't to that last one where he scored that I hit him in stride. So just gotta make better throws. Missed a little high, and you can't miss high over the middle. In this league, that's what they always say. You can't miss high over the middle, and tip balls on the second one turn into interceptions.
Drake, Drake Maye just called it an encouraging performance on offense. A lot of that came in the second half. What went better for you guys in the second half than the first half?
Yeah, we preach. AVP is preaching. Fast starts, and I wouldn't say it's very pleasing when you start off with a turnover in the red zone to start the second half and start with 3 and out in the first game. First drive. So little things like that we're emphasizing on offense, and we're just haven't been able to execute. I think there's the things that come back are what we're emphasizing, and starts with me. We need to execute. But kind of got going there a little bit. Made some throws. Had the guys made some plays. And we got, like I said, we got those guys. We got guys that can make plays, and O-line's up there battling their butt off, and getting injured, coming back, and always checking on me. So those guys, fought their butts off tonight.
Nick O'Malley on the left.
Even Gerard was saying when he was up here that you took some big hits. First full 60 minutes from you in the NFL as a quarterback. How are you feeling physically after the physicality of today's game?
Yeah, I think Houston Texans are a good football team. They got good defense. They got some good guys on the edge and up front. Good guys in the back end. So it was a good test for us. Like I said, I think you're right there a couple times in the game. Felt like we were crawling back, and we really just offensively put defense in a bad spot. So I feel all right. I think you're playing quarterback in the NFL. You're going to be sore the next day. It's part of it, and probably need to do a better job of getting down or throwing it away. And I think I took a couple sacks maybe today where I could have thrown it away or throw a check down instead of getting a sack and step up.
Joey Dixon, far right.
Drake, you mentioned you were amped at the beginning before settling down. What was the sideline like when you were coming back? What were some of the conversations you were having, and how was Jacoby helping during that time, if at all?
Yeah, he's saying we're good. We're good. They went down there, and scored on the first possession, so it puts a little pressure on you. I think it's always a little pressure when they, score first and make it 7-0. So just settle down and trust the guys around me, and we got to be able to run the football a little bit too. I think, we preach that, and run the football in this league is how you help. And getting in, third and long too much, I feel like today. And that starts with me and, making better throws and decisions on first and second down.
Chris Ryan in the back.
Drake, Wednesday you mentioned this was a dream for you to get your first NFL start. What was this like from that perspective, and also how did you self-evaluate overall as to how today went compared to what you wanted to achieve?
Shout out the fans. I thought they were great. Gave me goosebumps running out there the first time. They stayed. Basically almost the whole way through, cheering, and it was pretty sweet to be out there in the Reds. But like I said, I think you didn't come out with the win. And that's kind of the goal, especially in your first start. You want to come out with a win. That'd be something pretty special. So got to be able to watch the tape and learn from it and bounce back. And so we got a long flight, so get ready for playing overseas.
Yeah, along those lines, there's no denying this is one of the biggest days in your life. I mean, that's a fact. It's also a fact that your team lost convincingly. What are those emotions like? I mean, you're going to be getting texts from friends, family, who don't take the loss into account. What's going on right now in terms of the conflicting emotions?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, just blessed. Thank the good Lord. I'm in a great spot. With the Patriots here and playing quarterback in the NFL. Most of my friends and family after a loss, they're still worried more about the loss than kind of encouraging plays. That's kind of the people I'm around. We care about winning and just hate losing. So that's the big thing. I think there's some good things to take away from it today. And I think back to Coach Maye, we got to play complementary football, and we haven't done that.
Phil Perry in the front.
Drake, can you describe your mindset during the 2-minute drill before halftime? Looked like you're able to try to fit some passes into some tight windows there. Did that maybe help you settle into the game a little bit?
I think 2 minute, the 2 minutes of time is it's a great time for quarterback to kind of get some passes and get some plays that we're comfortable with under my belt, and it's a lot easier in 2 minute than practice when the guys actually have to come back there and tackle me in the back. So able to make some plays, and Booty made a great play, and those guys, I think Pop down the sideline, that's a great play on his part, and just get the guys the ball, and that's the biggest thing I got to do. I think give them the ball and let them make plays. I saw Hunter.
Get him the ball, let him make plays. Well, quarterback Drake Maye making some plays in his first start. Take a look at Patriots quarterbacks in their first career start since the year 2000. Well, Drake Maye, 243 yards, had 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. The second Patriots quarterback with 3 passing touchdowns in his first career start since 1962. Unfortunately, ended in a loss, but still lots to take away from Maye and his nonetheless impressive debut.